There's a lot of people that interact with a culture.
Especially black culture.
Especially black culture, but don't care to understand the historical context of the culture.
Okay, yeah.
That's what it seemed like to me. It seemed like she was very, she's very down for interacting with black people, and, she wasn't going to call anyone the N-word or nothing like that. But she doesn't have the historical knowledge to say certain things and speak on certain things.
I think a lot of the people on the internet were just wanting to know, really. And I know you've spoken a lot about it on your channel.
Mm-hmm.
But what really happened with Pearly Things? Like, what was the decline? Because obviously we've spoken about it before, but I think I have my view, but it's kind of to see.
Well, I think I addressed a lot of it in my video. If I'm honest. Oh, excuse me. I worked with her for about a year and a bit. Mm-hmm. Eddie knows because Eddie was kind of there as well, in the later stages. But yeah, I was there for about a year and a bit. I saw her grow, and then I saw a change happen mostly when she got a new management, who she, said that was linked to Candace Owens.
Yeah, he manages her, I believe.
That's what she said to me. I can only go by what she said, and yeah, then came the for me, what came was the employment of a lot of black people, which, like I said, on the surface looked great. Black people getting employed, but it was the attitude that she took towards those people that kind of made me feel a little bit. And I use the term plantation, I use the term colonization and colonizer, and I use it for a reason. I use it because that's what I saw. I saw, for me, her be like top of this colony and with all of these like black employees, and then came the Nick Fuentes interview, which she told no one about. I had no idea about, and I was working with her on a weekly basis. It seemed like it was like a move by her management to kind of shift her in a different direction.
Into the right wing conservative
into that space.
And who's Nick Fuentes? Just so people.
So Nick Fuentes is an admitted, as we say, I don't say known, I said admitted racist and white supremacist. Because if you admit to being a racist, it's different to people saying, "Oh, I know you're a racist."
Yeah.
If you don't say that you're a racist, then it's just an opinion. But if he says he's a racist, to me that's kind of different. So, he says he is a racist, and I watched the interview. I watched her laughing with him, keying with him, talking about slavery, how it's embellished, talking about her quote-unquote Africans, and I was just like, you know what? Nah. I said prior to that,
I think
that
people that know you as well, I think the reason why it probably hits home is because before you was in the Pan-African space, you was very for.
Yeah, listen, I've always been for the forward advancement of black people. Always. I'm not a hater, so I'm not like, oh yeah, hate white people, blah blah blah. White people can't do X, don't work with them. I'm not one of those people, but I'm a person who says, okay, cool. I don't mind other people. I don't mind Chinese people, Arab people, white people. I don't believe everyone is a quote unquote crazy racist like Nick Fuentes is, right? So yeah, after I've said it in my video, but prior to that, I was kind of said to myself, I'm not going to work here for much longer anyway, because I was seeing some things that I weren't really comfortable with.
Okay.
And after that, and I met up with her after Nick Fuentes said, what the hell was that about? She proceeded to act innocent and then offer me a contract. And I was like, that's not what the conversation was about today. Like, the conversation was supposed to be about what was going on with Nick Fuentes. She offered me this contract. I listened to her. And like I said, I thought the contract was a joke. Do you know what I mean? And I just went home and I was like, I think I'm out. And then the video came out. And that was that.
Do you think, so, because you mentioned as well, and I find this quite interesting because I was when that whole thing happened, obviously people knew that I used to be a recruiter.
Yeah.
But a lot of people were saying that they didn't realize I was the recruiter. So
yeah.
So they just thought these people appeared on the platform through her or whatever. So when I started speaking out on it, I got invited to a few podcasts and whatnot where I spoke about it. they talk about what you mentioned about there's a lot of black people being employed.
Yeah, all of her stuff was black.
So do you think that was on purpose, or do you think that was just a circumstance? Because me being brought on, I just thought it was a natural transition from an enjoyable episode that we did together. Because you reached out to me to say, come on the Just Pearly Thing show. We had a great show. She invited me back. And then after that, she was like...
I tell you what it is. I think the danger is naivety.
From whose side?
From her side.
Okay.
I understand how the podcast game works. You do. I think naivety when it comes to race, as I said, was the... and I don't pull the race card. I generally don't pull the race card. Excuse me, I don't like, oh yeah, everything's racist. That's just that's just not my bag.
You're the last person to do that.
But when I see something raise its head, I believe that I should have the right to speak about it. And so I think that in that instance, when it comes to Pearl, I think she's very naive. I don't think it's all malicious.
Naive to employ all black people?
No, naive to when she speaks on black issues or about black things. To say slavery was embellished. I done a video talking about. I done a video talking about when during slavery, how many people were lynched. I did a video talking about them using babies for alligator bait. I spoke about how they tied horses to black women, pregnant black women, and let the horses run in two different directions, splitting them apart.
Buck breaking as well.
Right, you had the buck breaking, you had the sex farms, all of this kind of stuff. And I was like, how can you say it was embellished when all of these things happen?
Did you say that? Do you think racism was embellished? I mean, it's so easy. I mean, just say no.
I can't say, hey, these slaves had a good relationship with their owners
because it's not true. Because it's just not true. It's not true. George Washington was not a father figure to his slaves. Fair. To be totally fair, you could just say, I don't think slavery was embellished.
Like you were
like
just
that's
talking
super
about,
easy. That's a layup for most people.
I was quoting a book. That's the crazy part. I was quoting a book.
So do you agree with his statement, though?
Do I think overall it was embellished? Some parts, sure.
There it is. Which parts?
Some parts.
No, please tell me which parts. Tell me.
I think that you can't. I think that certain slaves had good relationships with their owners. Not all, maybe not most, but I think some did.
And that just
and there are accounts of them saying this.
So some slaves had good relationships with their masters. Therefore, slavery was embellished. How easy it is to just say, I don't think it was embellished.
Okay, I really appreciate you having me on, but I'm gonna go. Thank you,
George.
Thank you.
Okay.
And there we have it.
Because when you look at embellishes, you've kind of taken it out of context of something that it's not. She could have used different wording to say that some of that there was atrocities committed, but not to the same level as put out into the ether, so to speak. But to say embellish is almost to say like it's a false sense. As if those atrocities never happened.
Do you
know why though?
But that's naivety because she didn't know it. She doesn't know any of
that. It might be naivety, but she would. So to play devil's advocate, how she put it across was that she read testimonials of slaves who said that under the rule of the slave masters, that they lived pretty good lives, and when they were made to be free, a lot of them went back to their slave masters.
If you've not known a certain way of life for 300, 400 years, well, yeah. That's why she called it embellishment syndrome.
That's why she completely agree. That's why I should call it embellishment. So it's almost like with what people do statistics, where they limit the flow of information to make one point look more valid than the other. The hurting in this situation would be, well, these lot clearly liked their circumstances if they went back.
But that's really, it's naive.
But yeah, okay.
Let's talk about the naivety.
I get it, because that's where the whole Jim Crow thing comes in, is where they emancipated the slaves in America, and then after the emancipation, they created a law called busking, where basically if you weren't working, then you could be put into prison, and you'd be put into like forced labor camps, which was basically
indentured servitude.
Yeah, exactly, enslavement again. So it's just like, they're just like, I better go back to my slave master, because
then
then go to jail and then actually be forced into Labour again. At least I have some kind of choice and I can control the terms now than what I could have been. You're pretty much in slavery again.
But I said it's the naivety. You don't know all of this information. So to speak on it, you're naive.
So
you don't know much.
Do you think it's a situation
and to laugh about it as well with a guy?
Do you think that it's a situation where she don't know, or she purposely ignores certain information? Because I know even when I watched this was like when you were still good and you did the reviews with her, and you'd question her on
colonization.
On colonization.
Yeah.
It was I don't believe it was a situation of ignorance. A situation of, well, I don't agree with that side of history.
What it was for me is that, you know, when you're so far removed from a culture, however you interact, there's a lot of people that interact with a culture.
Especially black culture.
Especially black culture, but don't care to understand the historical context of the culture.
Okay, yeah.
That's what it seemed like to me. It seemed like she was very, she's very down for interacting with black people, and, she wasn't going to call anyone the N-word or nothing like that. But she doesn't have the historical knowledge to say certain things and speak on certain things. So,
as someone that employs so many black people as well, it would seem like you'd be more for black people than what you actually put out there when you're sitting down with people like Nick Fuentes as an example.
Right, exactly. And then, I saw the thing with her friend, Gabby, who was with King Riches.
I fuck with Gabby. The way she defended King Riches, and told Nick Fuentes that was like, that there? That's kind of like what you should have been doing.
But Pearl didn't. Do you know what I'm saying? And Pearl allowed Nick Fuentes to curse out her friend about having a black partner. Why? Why did you not come to the defense of your friend? And that's why I said...
Yeah, but the one thing I want to be careful here, and I understand where you guys are going with it, but I don't want to get into this dangerous argument of where you're a racist unless you're anti-racist. Because in her defense...
I think no one's said that though.
No, what I'm saying is, in Pearl's defense, she can't be held responsible. So I'm with you, man, in terms of what's...
Can't be held responsible for what?
So I'm saying, I'm with you, man, in terms of she can be held responsible of what come out of her mouth in terms of ignorance.
Right.
But she can't be held accountable for what comes out of Nick Fuentes and how she reacts in that situation.
That's fair.
She's a podcast host. She has to allow him.
That's fair.
As an opinion.
But you laughed at certain things. That
is wrong.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Of course, that is what I'm saying. We can't hold her absolutely accountable for what comes out of his mouth or how she...
No, he's his own person.
You know what, though?
She's a podcast host. She has to allow people to speak.
I don't think Pearl's racist, to put it out there clearly. I don't think she's racist. However, I don't agree with the statement that someone can't be held accountable for not speaking out on something when, one, it's your platform, two, you're the one who's allowed the person to say it. So not acting is also an action. Do you get what I mean? So when someone is making a point about something, you have the obligation to or not to interact with whatever the person's saying. To not take a side is still performing an action. And I think it's like silence is violence, what they were saying. Non-action is still a problem in this situation. So if someone's sitting here today and saying Daly's hairline is fucked, bro, I'm not going to sit there and have it. If I just sit there and allow it, someone's sitting there cussing you out, you're going to be like, bro, you're meant to be my guy. We work together. How are you just going to sit there and let man deface me on camera in front of thousands of people and not say nothing? But then I'd be like, but bro, I didn't say nothing, so how can you hold me accountable? You'd be like, brother, shut up.
No, but what I'm saying, what we're talking about is accountability in terms of friendship. We're talking about accountability in terms of offense, in terms of to the general pop. So it might affect me and you's relationship, but to other people looking outside, I might be like, he doesn't know him anything. But me and you, we have a problem. But
it was her friend though. Remember, Gabby was. Yeah,
no, but this Gabby. Let's put part that to the side. I'm saying what came out of Nick Fuentes' mouth. Forget him, but what he was saying about people of color, Pearl cannot be held accountable for that.
No, but I don't think that's what people are saying though. I don't think that's what we're saying here.
But there's a level of podcasting. She probably knew that he was probably going to say something crazy like that anyway, because she knows his history.
But even if she
and it was going to probably get views. So it's like you kind of knew. It's like getting someone on that you know is crazy. You get them on because you think they're gonna say some crazy stuff. They're gonna say some crazy stuff, and it's gonna be good for views. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, while you can't control what's coming out of the person's mouth, I agree with you. You know why you got them on the show.